On BBC One in a moment, the news is followed by Everyman and a report on the struggle facing Christians in the USSR. Here on 2, before tonight's film of The Jazz Singer, introduced by Philip Jenkinson, this is how cinema audiences of the time first received advance news of what was to become a milestone in movie history.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am privileged to say a few words to you in this most modern and novel manner. Privileged because it's the first living Vitaphone announcement ever made announcing the coming of one of the year's outstanding pictures. What is the picture? Oh, well, of course, you guessed that I'm referring to Warner Brothers' supreme triumph, Al Jolson in The Jazz Singer, with May McAvoy and Warner Olin.
Well, that was Mr. John Miljan in the first ever talkie trailer, advising astounded 1927 movie audiences that they were about to witness and hear the movie event of a lifetime, the first ever sound Vitaphone feature film. In about 20 minutes' time, we'll be showing that film, The Jazz Singer, complete, just as it was first presented to an ecstatic audience exactly half a century ago this week, October the 6th, 1927 to be precise. At a star-studded Hollywood premiere attended by luminaries, Warner Brothers executives and a wildly anticipatory audience, both spoken and sung words issued from the screen in near-perfect synchronization with the image. Although the amplification system made the sound hollow and occasionally indistinct, enthusiasm ran high, and next day movie critics were talking about the dawn of a new era. This is surprising, since nearly a third of the film was made as a silent with captions and musical accompaniment, and there was only a total of 291 spoken words. As Jolson posed for pictures and joked with his fans, few realized that The Jazz Singer was destined to break all previous records and gross an incredible $3.5 million. Well, that was the scene outside the theatre, but here's what audiences could see and hear on the inside.
Blue sky, smiling at me, nothing but blue sky do I see. Oh, don't bluebirds singing a song, nothing but little bluebirds all day long. I never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right, noticing the day hurrying by. When you're in love, oh, don't they fly? Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. You like that, Mama?
Yes.
I'm glad of it. I'd rather please you than anybody I know of. Oh, darling, will you give me something?
What?
You'll never guess. Shut your eyes, Mama. Shut them for little Jackie. Oh, I'm going to steal something. I'll give it back to you someday, too. You see if I don't.
Well, that was one of the synchronized sequences, but here's another scene from The Jazz Singer with no sound except accompanying music, some of it unashamedly lifted from Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet. Note also the heavy traditional style of declamatory acting with large gestures and theatrical expressions. Remember, this was 50 years ago. Well, how did the talkie revolution start? To find out, we must go back to 1877 and inventor Thomas Alva Edison, who develops the phonograph cylinder recording. His rendition of Mary Had a Little Lamb caused a sensation. The lamb was sure to go, and so did audiences when Edison combined the phonograph with his kinetoscope. Now, in his words, all motion and sound can be reproduced simultaneously. His kinetophone appeared in 1895. It failed commercially. However, many Europeans freely employ Edison's combination of gramophone record and projector and display movies accompanied by loosely synchronized songs and even dialogue. Although primitive by even jazz singer standards, these prototype talkies signified the first hesitant attempts to give the screen a voice. November the 17th, 1902, Frenchman Léon Gaumont presents synchronized sound movies in Paris. One film shows the famous actor Coblin in the duel scene from his stage success Cyrano de Bergerac.
Votre main, au cœur, votre bleu cordon, les coquilles d'un petit instant, la pointe voltige, une mouche, et qui démange, et qu'on peut donc à la fin de l'envoi avec...
A decade later, in 1912, Edison uses the same technique to present synchronized voices. This aria from La Bohème is primarily sung, but with occasional bursts of dialogue. The kinetophone still sounds muffled and unreal, and sadly Edison abandons all further plans to add sound to moving pictures. Another problem besetting sound pioneers was the need to find a world market, despite the attendant language barriers. Some ingenious diehards solved the problem by using inarticulate sounds, like this laughing film made in 1913. Another 10 years pass by. Then in 1923, Lee De Forest invents his phonofilm process, using for the first time a photoelectric cell. The entertainment value lags considerably behind the improved technology. A former De Forest associate, Theodore W. Case, also experiments with sound over at the 20th Century Fox studios, assisted by Earl L. Sponable. In this early test, the incorrect running speed gives Case's voice a rather high pitch.
The camera's about up to speed now. We're taking this at about 80 feet a minute. Here's the first word that I want to try. Keys crisp. Keys crisp. All right, you can shut the thing off now. Yeah, shut it off. Yeah, will you please shut the camera off?
I'll try blowing a little, see how that sounds, shall I? All right.
Later, at corrected speed with the film running at 90 feet a minute.
How's that? Can you feel the air? I'd like to know whether you can feel the air coming to you. You people that are sitting there and watching this picture. Kush, can you feel it? Can you EI? I see. Now the amplification on this number 5 microphone is, gee whittakers, those lights are awfully bright, EI.
June 1926, Theodore Case tests a vaudeville act.
Yes, not my baby, no, no, baby.
Studio boss William Fox said to Case, "I'll give you $1 million if you can make it work out of doors." Well, Case proves that it can. But ironically, it's not the Western Electric Movietone system that Warners go for when they present their first sound film programme on August the 6th, 1926, at the Warner Theatre in New York City. They plump for Vitaphone, a complicated sound-on-disc system with the phonograph mechanically linked to the projector. The discs, recorded at 33 1/3 revolutions per minute, started on the innermost groove and played to the outside edge. The frame of film bearing the word "start" or a printed arrow was placed in the projector gate, and the needle on a marked indentation leading to the first groove on the record. Both projector and record thus started simultaneously, and providing the needle didn't jump a groove or the projector lose its threading loop, synchronization was achieved. Before the main feature, Don Juan, Warner Brothers presented a series of Vitaphone shorts, among them this eccentric performance by Mr. Roy Smeck, Wizard of the Strings. Smeck manages to play a ukulele and mouth organ simultaneously, but the ukulele wins by a short head. Then Giovanni Martinelli sang On with the Motley from the opera I Pagliacci. Finally, the parents of Rita Hayworth, the Cansinos, danced a lively little number called La Fiesta. At last came John Barrymore in Don Juan, which you can see in full on BBC Two next Saturday. No voices, just music, sound effects and lots of action. The year is 1927, and the new era of motion pictures is about to begin. For the first time, natural sound, that's dialogue and singing, is to be used in a feature film, The Jazz Singer, starring Al Jolson. George Jessel, who played the part on the stage, is first offered the part, but in fact turns it down, and thus gives Jolson his opportunity to make film history and establish his movie career. Jack L. Warner, president of Warner Brothers, tells of those anxious days.
In the 1920s, silent motion pictures were strongly established as popular entertainment. They had come a long way from the novelty of 1 and 2 reel films to feature-length productions which told the same story. There was a general belief at that time that motion pictures had progressed as far as they could go as a medium of dramatic expression and satisfying entertainment. My brothers and I believed otherwise. We were determined to break the barrier of silence and bring full life to the screen by giving it a voice that would be heard around the world. To this goal, we dedicated the full resources of Warner Bros. This was an all-out effort, with the future of our company at stake and possibly with the destiny of the motion pictures in the balance. There were setbacks and discouragements and a great deal of criticism from doubters who were annoyed with us for not letting well enough alone. Many said in public statements that talking pictures were a novelty and wouldn't last 30 days. But then on the night of October 6, 1927, came the full realization of everything we had set out to do. With the New York premiere of The Jazz Singer, and speaking from the screen, Al Jolson uttered the never-to-be-forgotten line, "You ain't heard nothing yet." Warner Brothers had given the screen its voice, and a vast new horizon for motion pictures was really open.
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet. Wait a minute, I tell you ain't heard nothing. You want to hear Toot 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 Me? All right, hold on. No, listen. Play Toot 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 Me. Goodbye, Tootie. Goodbye. Huh? Goodbye, Toot Me. Don't cry. The little choo-choo train that takes me away from you. You don't know just how sad it makes me. Kiss me to the end, then hey, you'll get over again. Watch for the mail, I'll never fail. You don't get a letter, and you know I'm in jail. Da-da-da, don't cry, Tootsie, don't cry. Ah! Goodbye, Tootsie, goodbye.
Well, those are some of the events that led up to that historic screening of The Jazz Singer 50 years ago. It's ironic to think that within 4 years, Vitaphone had been completely superseded by the infinitely more precise sound-on-film method. But as a giant leap forward in cinematographic evolution, The Jazz Singer remains a unique event. Remember this when you now see this rather rare film for the first time on British television, and remember that the technology was not up to modern standards, and that it's at least 10 minutes before we hear a spoken word. But I hope you'll nonetheless enjoy this opportunity to participate in a genuine bit of true cinema history.